Hey everyone, welcome to this kind of compressed versions of chapters 9 and 10 as we get caught up with what's going on over in Mrs. Davenport's class. So, the story of the 1920s and the 1930s is really a story of what we think versus what we didn't want to know, which you can see there at the top of the slide. And if we kind of build on this, what we want to build on is this idea, this reality that what we think is one thing. Americans thought that the collapse of our economy was going to be absolutely and utterly impossible, that there was no way that the economy itself could crash. Americans wanted to think that loans were going to always be easy to get. They wanted to think that people can be able to repay their debt, right? You're going to take out all these loans so you can repay your debt. And they had this belief that stocks were worth a lot of money that we were seeing people use during and buy during the 1920s. And all of these things are part of what make America and its economy seem like it's doing really, really, really good. But there's a lot of warning signs here, too, that we need to take kind of into consideration. One of the things that you learned about in the last chapter was this idea that America's economy, underneath something called supply side economics, underneath a guy named Andrew Mellon, by Presidents Harding and Coolidge and Hoover, was doing awesome. But there were definite warning signs of bad news coming down the pike. A lot of people who were taking out those loans, well, those people were actually gambling on stocks with their loans. And there's a fancy name for that. It's called speculation. And speculation, which you can see right here on the slide, at the bottom of the slide, that is a really difficult and dangerous thing to encounter in an economy. I mean, think about it. If people are taking out loans from banks and they're speculating, they're betting that the stock market is going to rise and they're buying stocks without any real knowledge of what that company is going to do, hoping to make a quick profit by selling it. What are you doing? Why would you ever consider that to be something that would be a healthy reality, that people are gambling on the stock money with money they borrowed from a bank? I mean, I understand the reality of why it is they were doing that. I mean, I get it. What they were hoping for, what they were wishing for, was that you could go to the stock exchange or the stock market, a place where you buy or sell ownership of a company in stock, and that you could find a way to effectively make a ton of money. And what they were betting on is this thing called a bull market. They wanted to go in, buy its stock, become the owners of a company, part owners of a company by buying some stock. They were betting that that market was going to go up, that company would be successful no matter what, so its value would rise, and then people could sell their ownership for a profit. That's a bull market because the bull is charging ahead. I mean, I get it. That's what these people want to do. They want to take out these loans. They want to be speculators in the stock exchanges, and they want to do it because stock prices are rising. It's a bull market. But there's a reality that we have to face. People had taken on simply too many loans, and stocks are overvalued. That's the reality that we have to face as Americans towards the end of the 1920s. That, listen, I know it was a bull market, but people are crazy. Like, no stock should be as high as these stock prices were. The companies just weren't that valuable. And people start to get afraid. And I don't blame them for being afraid. They were worried that the stocks they had bought weren't actually worth what they paid and that they were going to lose money, especially because they had taken out loans. So people start to sell their stocks. We start to see what's known as a bear market. This idea that we would see the owners of the company worried about the company and its stock performance. And so they would sell those different stocks that they owned. And then the price of that stock would fall because people were afraid of losing even more money. That bear market is going to be a real disaster for lots of folks, especially in something called Black Tuesday, where the people were so afraid that they began to sell so many stocks all at the same time on one day. And the market collapses to near zero. So think about it. That's like saying that let's say you had $20,000 and you go into the stock exchange that morning and you're ready to buy and sell, but you notice people are buying or selling their stocks at whatever price they can get, and you start to panic too. So you sell it off. And by the time that ends, oh my gosh, your stocks are like worthless because the prices have fallen so very much. That's what happens here towards the end of the 1920s in 1929, Black Tuesday. And this is going to be the thing that really kind of kicks off the Great Depression.